In this video, we'll focus on rookie mistakes and knowledge gaps related to HTML elements in Kevin's web development projects. Rookie mistakes result from poor development processes, while knowledge gaps indicate a lack of expertise to recognize errors. To illustrate, we'll examine unordered lists and iframes. Iframes, while not semantic, are often misused by beginners. We'll also briefly cover best practices for Fieldsets and include a bonus section on heading hierarchy and contrast fields, two areas where Kevin consistently struggles. At the end, I'll share my thoughts. To highlight these issues, I'll provide examples from Kevin's websites and recent client projects, introducing each website when first mentioned. So let's get started. Unordered lists consist of a UL parent container and at least one direct li child. Screen readers rely on this structure to announce the list type and item count. Failing to mark lists correctly violates WCAG SC 131 info and relationships, which ensures content structure is programmatically determinable. Two common rookie mistakes break this structure. Number one, childless list. This occurs when a UL lacks direct li children, often due to nesting li elements inside other elements, for example divs, or just the absence of li's. This prevents screen readers from recognizing the list. The second is the parentless list, quite common. This occurs when you have li elements without ul parents, they are orphans. This breaks semantic structure and prevents screen readers from identifying the li or li's as part of a list. Now, while ARIA lists can replace ul, they don't distinguish between ordered and unordered lists, so always use semantic list containers, in our case, a ul. Let's look at a few examples of these mistakes, starting with the Geary.co website. So if we look at the videos page, okay, I did not run my bookmarklet. Now you can see it has been highlighted. Close this. So now let's look at the code. We're going to see a div container. When we look, we're having li's from the Grid Builder plugin, WP Grid Builder. So here we have a div container having li's. So all these lists do not have parents. So this is an example of a parentless list. And this fails WCAG 131 like we said. So let's look at the next page, the tools page. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, about 9 sets of, or 10 sets of highlighted lists. So let's see. If we pick this one, we have a group of list children, no ul parent, or even ol parent. If we move to this one, the same thing. We have li children, div parents. Let's just scroll up. How about this one? The same thing. List children, no parents. So let's move to the insights page. For insights, what we're going to see here is an example of the childless, or should I say parentless, or childless, the childless list failure. Here we have a ul, this container is a ul, but all the children are divs. So this fails completely. Now, let's look at examples of this on other websites built by Kevin. Let's start with ACSS. Now, ACSS is a highly configurable CSS framework designed to enhance the efficiency, scalability, and maintainability of WordPress websites built with modern page builders. It offers features like dynamic dashboard for real-time customization, automatic responsive design, and seamless integration with third-party page builders like Oxygen, Bricks Builder, and even Gutenberg, I believe, with GeneratePress and the rest. So we're going to look at the, what page is this? The pricing page. Now on this pricing page, we have a div container here with a child of li. So this also fails 131 because we don't have a parent that is a UL or an OL. So this is another example of a parentless list. Next, we are going to look at another website built by Kevin, which is Frames website. We are going to look at on the home page we have, let's see, we have multiple fields. As you can see, this is 1 set, 2 sets, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, this is crazy. So Frames is a modular template and component library designed for Bricks Builder, offering unstyled layouts and accessible components to expedite custom website development, built with ACSS and organized using BEM style classes. Frames emphasizes accessibility and scalability, providing over 300 high conversion layouts to streamline the web design process. So we have 3 pages to look at on the Frames website. So the first one is the home page. Like I said, it has multiple failures, and we're not going to waste too much time. We'll just touch on a few. Let me see. Let's look at this pricing card. So for this card, you have li's div, then here again you have a div with li children. Then here, what do we have here? Here we have an li without any ul parent. Let's look at the next page, the pricing page. So I think it's similar to what we saw on the home page. Yes, we have a parent div with li children. So this also fails. And it's ironic how it says manual labor is for chumps. It's time to put frames in your stack. This website was built with frames in half the time, as they say. But now that all these silly mistakes are available, Kevin has to come back and use manual labor to fix this website. And who did they say manual labor is for on this website?
Chumps.
Right, they said it's for chumps. So Kevin has to come and do manual labor, and based on what he has on his website, he's a chump. But speaking of chumps, I'll have a video where I'll talk about chumps. So let's move to the next page we have here. This is the product page for Frames for Figma. And here again we have an orphan li with no ul parent. So I think we can introduce one client website here, which will be SBG Atlanta. Now SBG Atlanta Straight Blast Gym is a top-rated martial arts and fitness center offering programs such as Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, MMA, kids martial arts, and fitness kickboxing. It was established around 2010 or so, and it provides world-class training in a family-oriented, ego-free environment, catering to individuals of all ages and skill levels. This was rebuilt by Kevin in 2021 using Oxygen Builder and was recently upgraded to Bricks Builder in the 4th quarter of 2024 last year, making it his most up-to-date client website. So let's see here. So if we look at the colors we have here, we're going to find out we have an li orphan. So this also fails 131. These recurring errors highlight a pattern of fundamental semantic failures and rookie mistakes in Kevin's work. Now, I'm not trying to say Kevin doesn't understand UL and LIs, but obviously he seems to have a problem where he's making these mistakes across his websites and client websites. So next, I think we can switch to our next item, which is iframe. And here, first and foremost, let's just talk about iframes. So what's an iframe? Iframes embed external content but must be implemented accessibly. Each iframe requires a name using a WCAG compliant method. For example, title attributes which is the recommendation, I think, for H, is this 64? Yeah, I think it's H64. Anyway, without a name for iframes, you are still going to have a WCAG failure of SC412, which is name role value. Despite its simplicity, Kevin consistently neglects this requirement. So let's start looking at examples on the Geary.co website. Let's start with the homepage. Who said you can't teach an old dog new tricks? This website has been fixed from my last audit. Some improvements have been made, which is very good. Okay, so this is an iframe. Let me run my bookmarklet. So for every iframe that's not named, we're going to have this. Let's just look at the code very fast. Where are you? Where'd you go? Okay. As this. Come on. Okay, let me just take this section. Right. So here we have iframe. I should probably have just copied this. So here we have an iframe and it doesn't have a name. So this fails 412. Let's look at the next page, which is the inner circle. We have the same issue here. If I inspect, I come here, Control F, paste, allow full screen. We're going to have an iframe here again. It doesn't have a name. Okay, no, this one is not. Also, this iframe here doesn't have a name. Next page, we have. So how many did you have on the previous page? I think just one. Okay, there was just one. Here, so I think we have just one. Control F, paste. The iframe also doesn't have a name. Here we even have multiple iframes. None of them has a name. Now you get the idea. If we look at automatic CSS, we've already seen this website before. It doesn't have a name. We have multiple iframes and none of them have names. So just so you guys, no, I'm not. I don't just want to waste time showing you guys the same thing, but so we have an iframe. It doesn't have a name. Come on. Iframe, no name. I mean, it's the same for them all. Let's look at breaks. Sorry, gets frames, the same thing. Iframe, no name. Let's run our iframe. I'm going to have the same thing here on the frames for Figma page. Let's look at this client website we've looked at. So we have another unnamed iframe here. On the same website, let's look at the Mindshift page. Again, unnamed iframe. Interesting. So I think we can introduce maybe two new client websites. We're going to look at Subcaptioner next. Subcaptioner is an automated online transcription service developed by Broadstream Solutions that enables users to generate captions, transcriptions, and translations for pre-recorded media files in over, I think, 50 languages, they say. Now, all you have to do is you upload your files and pay, I think, 25 cents per minute. You can quickly receive accurate caption and transcription files without the need for human transcribers. The site was built by Kevin in the third quarter of 2024 using Bricks Builder and Frames, the same Frames website we've looked at. So for this one, I think we can just look at one page there and we can introduce this website too. So if you go to the services page, the same thing, this client website, unnamed. You have an iframe that has no name. So the next website we're going to introduce is going to be Eventsprout. Now, Eventsprout is a free user-friendly platform that enables event organizers to sell tickets both online and at the door, offering features like customizable event pages, real-time payment processing, and even offline ticket scanning through their mobile app. They also provide detailed analytics and reporting to help organizers understand customer behavior and improve future events. Eventsprout was rebuilt by Kevin at the end of the second quarter of 2022, and the site was built using Oxygen Builder. It still uses Oxygen till today, if I'm correct. So for this one, we're going to look at 3 pages, and these are pages that were built by Kevin. They were not part of the original pages. So here we have our Vets Air Show unnamed. We have our Fairs Festival page unnamed, and we have racetracks also unnamed. So let's just look at the code for one. Control F, Control V. So video Vime embed, or what do you call it, iframe. This one says it has title but no value. Anyway, so I think what I can say is iframe accessibility is one of the easiest issues to fix, yet Kevin's consistent failure across every website he has built indicates a fundamental knowledge gap. He's unaware that iframes require names to meet the WCAG SC412. He needs to study WCAG documentation. And the funny thing is, PageSpeed Insights actually shows this particular WCAG fail. We have seen where Kevin goes through PageSpeed Insights trying to, discredit other people's websites where he says they are failing core web vitals, but he did not have the time to even check PageSpeed Insights on his website, even though it's not an accessibility tool, but it captures this very simple fundamental error. I mean, to not even have knowledge that iframe needs a name, it really says a lot. So I think next we are going to look at Fieldsets. Let's move to the next, desktop. Now, where are we here? So this is not necessarily a Kevin issue. I just generally want to talk about some best practices for Fieldsets. So a Fieldset groups related form controls to clarify a form structure for both sighted users and assistive technologies. WCAG guidelines recommend that the first element inside a Fieldset be a legend to provide a label for the group, ensuring screen readers announce its context. If a visible legend isn't suitable for your design, it can be hidden with CSS, and if a legend cannot be used for whatever reason, area label or area label by can be used in place of a legend. Now, for guidance on grouping Fieldsets with area, I think area label or even area too, you can see Fieldsets, legends, and screen readers again. A post by Steve Faulkner on tpgi.com. Regardless of how a Fieldsset is named, the accessible name has to be descriptive. So even if you have a Fieldsset that is named and the name is gibberish, it's not going to pass. Now, some developers skip legend due to its default styling not matching their design vision. This can be overridden with CSS, the border code, so that you can ensure accessibility isn't sacrificed for aesthetics. So now that we've covered the basics of Fieldsets, let's look at what happens when it's used without a legend. Sometimes it's just unnecessary extra markup. Other times it can create serious accessibility failure. So we're going to look at two case studies to see how both work. So in the first case study is when you have a Fieldsets that is used without a legend. It might not be an accessibility fail, but it's going to be redundant code and unnecessary code. So for example, if we were to take like a newsletter sign up that had a Fieldsets that was wrapped in just one input, the email field, since the input already has a label, the Fieldsets is going to add no value. And in such a case, a div of similar container is better choice than having a Fieldsets not having a legend and wrapping one input. Now, this doesn't harm accessibility. because screen readers can still pick up the label of the email from the inputs, from the label, but it adds unnecessary markup. So it's better to just use a div for single inputs, even if there are multiple inputs. There's no need to use Fieldsets here. Now, another case would be to have a group of radio buttons without a legend using Fieldsets. Now here we can have a serious accessibility issue, because while each radio button can have a label, the group would lack context. So screen readers can announce options like yes radio button, no radio button, without clarifying what they refer to, what the yes and no refers to. And this is going to violate the WCAG SC131 info and relationship, and even SC412 name role value. This is why technique H71 says grouping controls is most important for related radio controls and checkboxes. So best practices and final takeaways is for group of related controls like radio buttons, always include a legend or use ARIA attributes to provide an accessible name. For single inputs like our newsletter email field, avoid unnecessary Fieldsets use. This has also been the recommendation of the gov.uk accessibility blog. Now, a design tip: if default legend styling is an issue, modify it with CSS instead of removing it. So you can just use CSS code and change however you want the border to look, or even remove it completely. So by structuring from elements properly, you ensure better accessibility and usability while maintaining WCAG compliance. So let's look at Fieldsets examples of poor practice on a few websites here. Let's start with the Geary.co website. So here we look at the homepage where we have the CTA. You can see we have a Fieldsets here, and it does not have any legend. So the use of Fieldsets here is pointless and just unnecessary code. We have just one input. Now, there are actually two inputs. The other one is, I believe, is hidden here, using ARIA hidden, but it doesn't even matter. Even if there were multiple, the fact that a Fieldsets was used without a legend and it's not even necessary, there is no need to use a Fieldsets here. So this is just redundant code. If this would have been a div, it wouldn't make any difference. I mean, would it? I don't think so, semantically. So the next one is going to be SBG Atlanta again. Now here we have Fieldsets and it has ARIA label. So it's been named using an ARIA label. Unfortunately, it says section. The label is section. It doesn't give us any context. What does section mean? So here we have a name using ARIA label, which is good. They managed to name it, but the name doesn't really make sense. It's not descriptive. So there's that. Next is subcaptioner again. We have our area label and section again. Why are all the websites built with bricks builder having section? So also this is not descriptive. And our next website, which website is this? Event Sprout. Have we looked at Event Sprout before? I think we have. So for Event Sprout, we have a Fieldsets here, and there's no name. Pointless and redundant code. There is no need for it to be here. So we've seen where we have non-descriptive names called section using ARIA label, and now we're seeing instances where we have no name. So the Bricks websites have non-descriptive names, and the Oxygen websites, Event Sprout, and the next one we're going to look at is DocReady. I think this is our first time looking at DocReady, so let's introduce DocReady. DocReady is an online healthcare platform offering affordable same-day virtual appointments with US board-certified doctors, covering services such as everyday care, mental health, medication refills, and pediatric care. Patients can schedule appointments online, consult with their doctors via text or video, and receive necessary prescriptions sent to their local pharmacies. It was rebuilt by Kevin last quarter of 2021 using Oxygen Builder. And if we're to look at their contact page too, we have a Fieldsets being used with no legend. So unnecessary code, redundant code. Now, while all these are not accessibility fails, but I mean, it's just a pointless use of Fieldsets. So I think what is next on our agenda Okay, bonus. Now, we've seen enough heading hierarchy and contrast failures on Geary.co from my previous audits, and I don't think anybody would want to see that again. So what we'll just do is we're going to take a look at the same mistakes on the client websites we have shown today, or even maybe, yeah, I think the client websites will do. So I just found pages that fail the heading hierarchy and the contrast at the same time, just to save us some time. So let's start with in descending order of websites he built. The most popular, which is SBG Atlanta. So if we look here, we have this fail, and I'm sure, I don't know, I'm sure I can find, let's see, oh, we didn't prepare for this. Come on, show us some fails. Oh well. Okay, this button fails. Woof. This has a contrast of 2.64. So this fails heading hierarchy and contrast. Next page, subcaptioner fails heading hierarchy and let's see. So even this text fails contrast at 3.52. But I'm sure there are more we can find, but let's keep it moving. Let's go to the next website. Event Sprouts fails heading hierarchy. Should have opened this beforehand, but it's alright. Let's see, where do we have text fail? Okay, all the text on this website fail contrast minimum. So we have 3.52. And let's look at the last website we looked at. We introduced DocReady, fails woefully. And if we look at text, 1.7, this text fails. 3.07, this button fails. So in the most recent websites built by Kevin, all of them fail heading hierarchy. You have pages that fail heading hierarchy and contrast minimum. So this is, I mean, really, I don't even know what to say. But I think what I'll just say is, for my 2 cents, I'll say for someone who claims to have taught 90% of accessibility, this is a little embarrassing. Maybe he meant 10% and just mixed things up. We all make mistakes. That said, if his client work is the benchmark, it's what's auditing their best projects, which are among the websites we've shown today. When Digital Gravy was still a digital marketing agency in 2024, they positioned Subcaptioner, Event Sprout, and DocReady as top-tier examples of their expertise. In fact, what does this say here? It says, "We truly believe in the motto, you are only as good as your last performance." That's what this page is about. It's a detailed account of our 3 latest projects so you can get an idea of what we've accomplished recently. But, you know, after reviewing DocReady, I was highly disappointed. No skip links, no main landmark, no dynamic copyright here, weak copy, and a lot of issues. Very bad for a website built in 2021. So since these 3 websites are proof of how good Digital Gravy's web design process was or is, while Kevin takes time to improve Geary.co with all the assignment I've given him, we probably can audit these 3 websites. Since I already even have DocReady available, I could share that one. Or maybe I should do Geary.co part 4 first before we share this. Who knows? I'll decide. So probably not to make this video so long, share your thoughts in the comment and let me know what you think. Thank you very much.